All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Hidden Agenda. We're going to recap the county meetings last night. There was a meeting with, the Solid Waste Committee first at 6 o'clock, and then there was a meeting with the County Commission. So we're going to go over these things here. We're going to kind of give you guys some, just update you on what happened in those meetings. Let's just jump into the solid waste meeting first. Okay, there was a carryover from their last meeting, and this commercial trash is kind of what it's about. Yes and no. We touched base on this in the last podcast. I'm just going to back you up to what it was. There's one company that's owned by Shannon Manus, and that company, what he does is he provides a service to county residents. He goes to their house and picks up their trash, and then he brings it into town and dumps it at Mig Drive. That's how everything was working up until June of last year. He'd done this for 7.5 years. Hadn't been a problem, and it just all of a sudden, he got the rug pulled out from under him, told him they weren't doing it anymore. So that's what started this whole thing. And what it boils down to is he was paying the county $56.92 per ton to bring this trash in. Now, and you got to think about this here. Whether he delivers the trash from somebody's house to the solid waste department, or these people deliver the trash themselves to a convenience center or maybe to Mig Drive, it's the same trash. There's no additional, trash being picked up here that's being dropped off. So, really what he was doing is he's been providing a service to the citizens who maybe don't have a vehicle to be able to transport trash, maybe elderly and can't handle it, or, maybe somebody, time related, that can't get out here and get everything done. So, when you get into it, he's just providing a service, nothing more, nothing less. Anyway, what's happened here is, we don't know. I mean, we don't know the reasoning behind it, other than we're told was they're trying to correct this issue. Is kind of the thing that we've been told. But bottom line is what's going on here is Shannon now is having to dump at the city, which is costing $93 a ton. And eventually I don't know if he may already have or is in the plans of going up on his rates. Which is kind of a disservice to the people who have to get this here. I mean, he was keeping it at a lock rate for the longest time because of the cost factor. But anyway, why the board didn't take any action on it? They've deferred it to the county commission to discuss it. Let's just kind of get into the conversation, what happened last night. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. I'm sorry, these things are normally long-winded. They discussed it. There was, I think actually, Jack Johnson had made a motion, didn't get a second, and I think he ended up rescinding his motion to start taking commercial accounts again at $92, which is, I think the city's paying $93 or $92. So he wanted to be in alignment with the city. Like I said, that failed to get a motion, failed to get a second, and it died. Jack actually rescinded his offer on that there when they started talking about bringing this back in front of the commission to discuss it. So that's where that ended. I don't see how this was a hard problem to fix. One of the arguments we kept hearing of this here, well, we can't take commercial construction debris. Okay, well, that's not what he was delivering. He was delivering household trash in trash bags. No different than what what I do. I load up trash bags. I've got a couple of 55-gallon containers that I put 55-gallon liners in, and then about once every 2 weeks, I take my trash off, and I load it up, and I just have 2 big plastic bags. But it's all household trash. So that's what was happening here. And I don't see why they couldn't simply just reinstate this thing here like it was. The talk was, well, there's other ones out there doing it, and they may want to get involved too. Well, that's true. And if they do, then it's not hard for them to go back in and say, hey, look, this is all we're taking is household trash, nothing more. It's got to be bagged and nothing else. If it's the same trash that they're paying for already to dump and county taxpayers are funding it, I don't see where the issue is here. This would have been a simple fix. If you go to Mig Drive, you look all over the place there. When you pull in on your left-hand side of the metal building, you'll see there's a place for old paints. There's a place for old motor rolls. When you pull up to the dumpster, they've got a place over there. They got a metal open top container over there. Then you have stuff that you bring in the back. It's already being done. Now, I don't know. I think they said that there was 3 convenience centers that have open tops. I know I go to the one in Bargerton every now and then. And that one there has they tell you what you can't throw in there, what you can and can't throw in. So, if they're already establishing rules, why couldn't they have just established rules of this here and allowed it to continue to roll in? I don't get it. And, what they were charging was $56.92. Shannon, I think in his tax returns from last year was $7,800, and he did say that he had a few times he had to go to the or this was for 24. I'm sorry, not for 25, but for 24. His tax returns, he showed $7,800 is what he spent to dump at the county. There was a couple times he had to go to the city, so he realized it's like, to be reasonable, I will say I dumped really $7,200 at the county. So they generated revenue off of it. What he does is he rolls through, he gets the scales. He hits the scales, and the scale makes measures the weight. That's him coming in loaded. And he was the one actually doing all the work. He was going out there and he was writing down what he got. Now, when he left, he didn't have to take and cross the scales. It's just a drive through. And the reason being is his truck, they do what they call averages. And this is a standard practice. When he comes back out, he's already had his truck weighed in. And, if it averages, I'm just going to throw a hypothetical number out there, $5,000. 5,000 pounds. Then when he left, the average is considered 5,000 every time. So if he came in with 6,000 pounds and left for 5,000, that means he dumped out 1,000 pounds, half ton. It's not hard to go back in here and calculate all this stuff here up and look at it and say, it was an easy way for the county to make some revenue, and they've lost that aspect now. I know Nick Peterson was bringing that back up, making sense. Now, one of the things they're saying now is, well, we're going to have to hire somebody to watch the scales in case we get more people doing it. And yeah, I got a question there. How much is this happening? And then, if we're going to get, let's say we got 10 people bringing in bringing all this trash in. Well, that's less transportation. They've got to bring it from the convenience centers back to Mig Drive. I think that's from what I gathered. When all the trash from the convenience centers are brought to Mig Drive, and then from there it's transported out to Camden. Even if it's transported from Mig Drive, that's from the convenience centers directly to Camden. It's not a big issue. You're still not really, it's still the same amount of trash, the same weight of trash. So this would have been an easy thing to me, I think, to fix. But obviously, we'll have to see what the county commission says. So I'm assuming this is going to be brought back up in the March meeting. Anyway, that's where that's at right now. It's still a work in progress. I know the commission wanted the board wanted, the solid waste committee wanted to talk to Shannon. Unfortunately, he's had a death in the family, so that's priority number one. But anyway, that's where that's at, and we'll see how that goes. We'll follow up as we get more information on it. Like I said, this should have been a simple fix, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. All righty. Also in that meeting, there was discussion about the open top containers, like said the one at Bargerton. That's the only one I'm aware of. I think a couple of other convenience centers have them. The problem that was brought up in this here, and they're not sure how to address it, is these open top containers are probably, probably close to 6 foot tall, to be able to get over the edge. And what's happened is some elderly people are having trouble getting over there. There's no steps beside it or anything. There's The containers sit flat on the ground. The discussion was about the one that's down in Saltillo. If you've never been out there, you kind of drive up on a hump, and then the container is actually sitting beside the hump, so you're throwing down into the container instead of having to throw over the side of it. They talked about that, but the problem is our convenience centers don't have enough space in there to make that happen. Our lots are very small. I do know the one anyway in Bargerton and one down in Parks Crossroads. There's just not enough space to go back there and make that happen. So the lot's just not, is not conducive for that to happen. So that was a consideration, but they also talked about digging down and putting the containers in and pouring concrete and putting the containers down in that way. Also at that point, then you got to worry about any kind of water that's getting down up in there. How do you get that out of that area there? And water's got some strength. You can float one of those containers, I would think. Unless it's just got a tremendous amount of weight, and I don't know. I couldn't say that for a fact, but anyway, that's something that's also being discussed. And one other thing that was brought up was the possibility of having a shredder. And what I mean by shredder is a document shredder. I know I've seen it before in town. I think it's called Shred-it. It's a service. I believe they're out of Jackson. They come. You'll see it I see it next door at the law offices. They come in and whenever they need to shred any kind of legal paper, they shred it. So for people who don't have like a burn pile or shredder or something, or don't want to throw something like that there out in the landfill, the discussion was about having a shredder come in, maybe I don't know, once or twice a year, kind of like where we do the free dump day with the chemicals and stuff normally in May. That would be a consideration there too. So whether that goes, who knows? It's a matter of waiting to see. But that's pretty much everything that happened within the solid waste committee meeting. There's still some discussion we can get into at some point with this here, but right now that's kind of where it's at. Now, getting into the county meeting, I made a mistake last night. I had the screen set up and everything, the video set up to go, but I have to hit a button that says go live. And I forgot to hit it. I got in there late during the, I think it was during the 7.1.1 discussion of the with the fire department. I do want to bring up something that was discussed under new business, and actually I think it may have been under old business. It doesn't really matter, but there's been I know Commissioner Jack Johnson has been making a request to get some kind of audio system put into the courtroom up there so we can actually hear, because boy, I'm gonna tell you, the solid waste committee meeting, I couldn't hear hardly anything. I was straining to listen, and I actually had to come when I came back home this morning. I got up and I boosted the audio on that video before posting it on our YouTube channel. So if you do want to hear what happened there, that's a lot better. But I'm going to tell you right now, you still want to wear some kind of either put it through a stereo system where you're bumping audio up, or put on some headphones or something just so you can hear it, because it's still kind of low and mumbly. But I can't boost it but so much before I start getting to the point where there's just too much noise in the background and you don't really understand what's going on. So that's one of the things that was brought up. Was the mayor now has what he said was there was going to be four 65-inch TV screens, I guess, placed in the courtroom, and what it will allow to happen is they're going to have the agenda posted up there, so you'll be able to see the agenda during the meeting live. Also, there's going to be microphones, and instead of having microphones where commissioners can sit there and cut them on and off or whatever, these are actually going to be hanging from the ceiling. So, I would assume possibly that, from what I gathered, it's going to happen by the next meeting. So, hopefully there'll be some audio in there. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. You never can tell. So, anyway. Not a lot really to go over there with the fire department. They're working on radios and stuff. It's just kind of typical type stuff that's going on there. Updating equipment. I don't want to sound bad by saying this here. I don't pay a lot of attention to the fire department. It's just it's a very good run department within the county government. So, I just there's just nothing really to talk about. I mean, other than the fact that if we want to do anything, we need to sing their praises because they do a phenomenal job, especially considering that it is so heavily volunteer based. But anyway, that's just really not much to bring it up on that one there. The sheriff's department surplus property, there's, I think it was washers and dryers that they're selling. Just surplus washers and dryers. Probably, I'm going to assume they're coming out of the jail, which would be some pretty heavy duty commercial washers and dryers. And they're large. I mean, they're very large. If it's the ones I saw a few years ago, they're pretty huge. So anyway, that's what's going on there. The finance department, budget amendments for EMA and the sheriff's department. Now, what happened there? There was a $350,000 transfer out of the rainy day fund. We're going to call. The surplus fund out of the general fund, which is the 3,900 account, 39,000 account, I think is what it is. But that is the, like I said, that is the undesignated funds. Our reserves, if we want to look at it from that perspective. Anyway, the 350, what was stated by the finance director is this might not be all that will be needed. What this money supposedly is going for is medical and dental for the jail system. So whatever they had budgeted so far this year, they've already spent it all within, you got to figure we're 6 months in, and they've already spent it. So they put another 350 into this account. Now, what she said, and I guess it's true, but that once they arrest somebody, that they take over all the medical in regards to these prisoners. So in other words, if they've got insurance, the insurance doesn't pay for their medicine or their medical supplies or I guess medical treatment, that the sheriff's department has to pay for all that. So I have no clue how much was budgeted in to start this year. I have not looked at the budget to find out, but I'll see if I can't dig into that more and put it out there for you guys. But that's $350,000 just going there. So I really don't have a lot of information on that there. So 350 going for medical supplies for prisoners, $350,000. Also, there was money that was, I believe it was $68.99, so $6,900 was moved from the EMA to the medical examiner's account. So that's we didn't hear much the reason that that was, but that's just what kind of happened there. I believe they tabled this matter here, the financial policies. I think the mayor tabled that there. Must be reviewed and approved. Any changes need to be eligible for a financial excellence award. So I think that got tabled. Getting down to the Spectrum contracts. The one for the Family Justice Center, they took no action on because they're not sure if the Family Justice Center is still going to be operational. There's a ton of money and they're spending there. I think it was like $7,000 over 3 years for internet services. So they are, they're kind of looking out at that, and they're not sure that they're going to get the grant money to remain open. The Family Justice Center is actually at the Brown Shoe Building now, and I believe they're in where the Election Commission used to be. Now, the mayor did make a comment about there's a possibility that the Brown Shoe Building will be going away, so I'm assuming the county may be looking to sell that. There's no elaboration on it. We'll see what happens with that there. The other contract with Spectrum is with the health department. Now, and this did get passed, and what it is, I got company joining me. My cohort is showing up. Looks like he's been working today. But let me go and get your mic on too.
You're missing Tim's.
Yeah, your mic's on. Heck, his mic's already on. Welcome, Blake Mitchell, to the Hidden Agenda. He's joining us in on this one here. Anyway, the what that is, what the Spectrum deal is with the health department is, as you know, they're moving from over there across from the AutoZone distribution center to the new one they've got down. What is that road? Is it College Drive?
College Drive behind Jackson State.
Okay, they're moving over there to College Drive. So what this here is a contract to move the telephone service from where they are now to the new building that's going up. That's pretty much the gist of that one there. And the last thing that happened on well, not the last thing, the second to last thing. Request for District 2 Commissioner Tanya Stegall. She requested to dedicate a portion of Highway 412 to former Commissioner Harold Tyler. Now this was passed unanimously, and what it is, I think they're going to mark it from. They're showing log mile 0.0512 to log mile 1.511 will be dedicated to Mr. Harold. And I'll tell you right now, I'm all right with that. There, I like Mr. Harold. I think he was from the time that I got to work with him, when I first got into Henderson County politics, Mr. Harold's a good fellow. He really cared about the people. So, you know, I'm all right with that there. I think that's a good thing to recognize him for the service that he did provide to this county. He really worked hard and he called out things as he saw them. So I think that's a great thing. So anyway, next thing was the notaries, which is typical. And then there's a question mark that was brought to me, and I don't know, I don't really know the laws on this here. After the notaries were passed by the commission, the mayor stated, meeting adjourned. But he did not have a vote. And what he did was said, I need a motion. I get a motion and a second, and hands one up. And before they ever took a vote to adjourn, the Commissioner Jack Johnson said he wanted to address something. So I'm not sure if they were, once the mayor said we're adjourned, whether they took a vote or not. I don't know if that matters so much, because I know in the city they don't never take a vote to adjourn a meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'll have to do some research.
So yeah, that's something we'll have to look into, because the question was brought to me is what happened was they actually went in and took a vote after this here. So is it a legal vote at this point? And let's get into what that was about. I don't know what I can only. Commissioner Jack Johnson had mentioned to me after the Solid Waste Committee meeting that Ian Gorski, he's with what is it? Good Solar, I think is the name of the company he works for. At the last meeting, they actually they had tabled an issue with this here. Let me back up here. Ian works for a solar company. I believe they're based out of Maryland. And what they're going to, what the goal was, is there's some dead property back there by the Justice Complex. And his company was going to put solar system in to feed the jail. Now, this is not a 100% switch over. The solar company, Good Solar, was going to provide solar during daylight hours. They were not going to put in any kind of battery bank system to operate 24. So in other words, it'd be worked on a split system where LES would pretty much cover it at night and they would cover it during the daytime. And in doing so, what it does is they were able to save the sheriff's department 5% on their bill. In addition, this land that's not being used for anything whatsoever, what was stated was, I think the first 5 years, because the conversation went back and forth, but what I gather from it is the first 5 years, they would pay $500 an acre per year for a lease. So if they go with 2.5 acres, that's $1,250.
Yeah.
So $1,250 a year. plus they're going to get property tax because the value of this equipment is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood. I think Ian said around about $2 million. So the county generates the property tax revenue. So land that's not being used, it's just sitting there dormant. They're going to put solar in to save energy costs at the jail. They're going to generate some lease revenue, and then they're going to generate property tax revenue.
How are they? Are you talking about through personal assets, or are you talking about through actual real property? Because if it's in the county's name right now, they're not being taxed for real property.
Right. But if it goes into a lease,
It's still going to be owned by the county.
yeah, but I think from what was stated was they were actually going to pay property tax on this.
Is that a sales gimmick?
I don't know.
I'm not. I'm just
I-
genuinely
yeah,
curious. 'Cause I haven't ever seen from any type of county or city owned that they actually pay property tax. I mean, outside of your utilities, that are especially taxed. I haven't seen it, and so that's why I was just curious. When you think about it, it's actually going on county ground. That I don't know how it would increase the real property taxes. Like I said, unless it's the personal property tax that they're going to try to collect, they're going to try to say that it's not affixed to the ground. But I think, like I said, once you go into the way that they've been installing them, I don't know how you could get away and say it's not affixed to the ground.
That's a good question.
I'm just curious if it's a sales pitch or if, like I said, if that's true or not. We got to do some more digging on that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. We'll definitely look into that there. Like I said, we also got to check in the legalities of it. But I don't see anything wrong with this going. If it is generating revenue for the county and saving them on energy costs.
And it's not useful land right now, anyway.
Right.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's just dormant, sitting there. Plus, if you think about it, I'm sure they're having to take and maintain that property in some way. At least, maybe bush hogging every so often.
I have no idea.
I've never been. I don't know where the property is per se, but I just know it's by the jail.
I know it's a south-facing slope, but other than that, I'm guessing that would be right behind the jail, kind of right.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, but I have no idea, to be honest with you.
But anyway, I think there was a question about they were only needing 2.5 acres, and I don't know if they've concluded. I didn't quite gather where they concluded where they're going to take all 5 acres or they're going to just do 2.5. But anyway, after the 5-year mark, the property would go to $4,500 per acre for the lease. So now we're going to $12,500 as opposed to $1,250, and I believe that was going to be on a 20-year. So there's how you think about that. There, you get 15 years at $12,500. I mean, there's a couple $100,000 between that 20 year they're going to get in just lease revenue from land that's not being used.
Right.
I think I'm okay with that there. And we haven't seen all the fine print, but this is just the first step. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but this is time sensitive based on this stuff need to be addressed by January, voted on by January.
Yeah.
Now that we got a background there, what happened was Jack told me, he said an email was sent out to Ian that there was no support for it and it was not on the agenda. Okay. And what Jack said, this came from the county mayor. All right. When this discussion got in here and they started talking with it, and Kevin Carter, the county attorney, got involved and explained everything to the commission and what was going on and what was going to happen here, the commission voted for it unanimously.
Right.
But there's no support for it. And I don't quite understand it passed right. There was no hesitation. I mean, everybody voted for it.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't understand why, this wasn't, it was supposed to be on this agenda, but it was not. So anyway, like I said, we have this vote now and this thing has passed. And this is, like I said, this is one step in the process. They still have a bunch of other steps. They'll go through and negotiate with it. So, that's where this is at this moment. Like I said, there is a question mark about, did they legally vote in this thing here because the meeting was adjourned, or was the meeting not adjourned?
Right.
I mean, I don't.
And was it actually on the agenda?
No. They brought it up under unfinished business because it truly was unfinished business. So that's where they carried it in there. So anyway, hold on a second here. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so we're still in a. We'll have to see what happens with this here. We're going to do a little research on it to find out.
And I'm just curious, how did this ever really? I guess I don't understand the beginning of it. Was this something that was brought forth by the county or by the sheriff's department, or was this Ian that come up with this and proposed it to him? I guess.
I think this was Ian that proposed it as a potential service for the county.
Right.
I think this has been going on for about a year and a half now.
Right. I knew he was getting worried. But the time sensitivity part was a lot of it related to some type of grant funding, or I'm guessing some type of tax deduction or credit.
I think that's where it was on a tax credit with it. Well, and some of it falls back under you're dealing with TVA in the state, and I think what would happen is the rates. I think. I just had a hard time understanding exactly what was happening there, but it's almost like the rates would be higher, and if they don't have everything in place and ready to roll by July.
Right. I also wonder how it's going to facilitate the transfer. You know what I'm saying, from one to the next power. For instance, when you get out there, let's say at dusk or dawn, when it's not able to fully handle the load, will there be some type of bifurcation where it can pull from both? Because most of the time they want it to cut from one to the next completely and not be drawn from two sources because of backfeeding issues.
That there was actually somewhat discussed. Pretty much, they've already been in contact with LES on it, and there's absolutely no cost to the county whatsoever on this system. What LES was saying is that they can actually, I guess it's going to probably some kind of automatic transfer switch would be put up in there, and there's multiple meter bases at the county. On the jail. It's not just one meter base going there to feed the whole thing. They got multiple meter bases. So this would be, they would take care of everything on their end, and they would mesh everything back together with LES to make sure it would be a smooth transition.
Right.
So, that's kind of what is where it's at this moment.
Right. I guess what I'm wondering though is, like I said, I don't know if it could swap off to individual meters or if it's going to be an all or one thing. But for instance, like I said, if they're taking 500 kilowatts or whatever, and it can supply 450, will it be able to supply that 450 at all, or will the system sense that it's doesn't have the load capacity it needs and it'll let swap back over to Lexington Electric? I guess what I'm wondering about is, will we do all this and it actually come forward and we're only getting maybe 3 to 5 hours a day of usage from it,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when we end up having essentially a bunch of solar panels out there we're just looking at.
That's a very good question. That's one I don't have an answer, and I don't think that was asked specifically in the meeting.
Right.
So yeah. I'm still sure that there's questions out there.
I just want to make sure it's utilized. I guess really, at the end of the day, it's something that's going to be productive, and we're going to get the benefit that we're being described to, and it's not something that's just, like I said, a kind of a pipe dream or something that, by and large, is more less designed to really capture tax credits and deductions and things of that nature than it is to actually, better our service or lower our cost of service.
Right, yeah, and that makes sense. All righty, I'm going to jump in here on the questions. Let me scroll down through in the columns here. All righty. See if I can get some of these comments in here. For some reason, it's not allowing me to scroll back. All right, it's giving me top comments. I want. All right. Jade said, "Hey, there's the man's plan.
Hello.
What does the Family Justice Center do?" I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm not 100% sure. I'm really not. I'd hate to even answer that there. That's something we'll have to dig into to find out what's going on there. What in the world are they doing? Giving out full denture sets and sex change operations? I don't know. Honestly, that was one of the things that was, they're not sure why the increase in medical and dental has gone up so much this year. I do know that the jail is fully, it's definitely there. I mean, it's full, it's packed.
Right.
So what's going on there? They never brought that information out. So, it's something that we got to look into to see what's going on there. All right. Yeah, appreciate it. That's a new intro I figured I'd try out today. I got a couple of them actually made. We're gonna might flip flop some on those there. See which ones we might just mix it up every now and then. Hey Penny, how you doing tonight? That's the questions we got up in here. Yeah, it's while we're in it here, we've kind of recapped these meetings here. Like I said, we got some information we'll still have to dig into. December 22nd, I believe, is a Monday. The city board of mayor and aldermen are meeting again. We will probably take that Tuesday, the 23rd, and do a podcast and catch you guys up on that. So we know what's going on. You know, we can get you updated because I have no clue what's going to be on this agenda for the city. We'll see it when we see it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
'Cause it sounded like they pushed the gas off to January.
that's off until January 25th.
All right. So
And I got something else I'll take and I'm gonna wait until the meeting before I bring it up. I'll keep this one here to myself. This way, if I can ask a question to see why we aren't going this route too. At the last meeting in regards to that there, and I brought up the question is, you know, we were, according to that PowerPoint presentation, we were supposed to be 410 negative, and we ended up being 344. So they actually dropped it down. They were not as short as what they had thought they was going to be.
right.
But with implementing year one, which is already implemented, they already
Right.
started that one, and implementing year two, it was supposed to erase that 410 and bring us up over.
Right.
But apparently now the numbers have changed. So who knows what the numbers are now? I mean, will the board have the actual numbers?
Right.
I mean, you know, we don't know. You know, that's have to wait and see what the heck happens with that one there. The charter change, I'm expecting this to be addressed. The opening in the city recorder's office for the person with the tax, I'm assuming they'll have that prepared. We got into that meeting the other night. They just didn't have half the stuff together.
Right.
I mean, you know this stuff's coming. Why the heck ain't you got it together?
Right.
I mean, it don't make any sense. I guess we're not paying them to be organized for their meetings.
No. You just have them show up to the meeting and
Yeah.
vote, and that's it. Go home.
And I really wish they would get away from this discuss, approve. Look, all you got to do is put action required.
Right.
As simple as that there. It's just, you know, yeah, maybe that's it's a pet peeve of mine because you know what, you're telling people we need you to prove this.
Yeah. Subliminally, anyways.
Yeah, that's it. Heck with that mess. Right. You know, just action required from the board. Yeah. That's simple. 2 words without a hyphen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it ain't making you type no more. Ain't going to cost us no more money in labor.
Right.
So, you know, anyway, with that there, we'll have to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
And like I said, January 25th with the city meeting, we'll see what goes that's be their regular scheduled meeting actually December 22nd is going to be their regular scheduled meeting. They normally don't have a meeting in December, but they're calling this as a regular scheduled meeting. So we'll deal with those two as we come along. Like I said, and during that time, whatever we got to catch up from back here, we'll take and bring that back up to you, share it with you as well. Anything else that you can think of that we kind of need to cover or go over or hit on?
I mean, I guess you talked about the garbage earlier.
Yeah, that was what I would hit first.
Yeah.
I know something else too that we can close out on. Election time. We are ramping up with that there. I'll tell you what, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna go grab something. You can entertain them, you know.
Yeah, that's how I do the little clapper monkey thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, like I said, with the garbage thing, like I said, that seems to be plaguing just not only the county, but the city as well. Seems like we have a lot of people that are commercial clients that seem to try to take advantage of their living in the county or city to be able to drop stuff off for free that are, you know, commercial, or I say commercial, construction debris and things of that nature, which are generally heavy. And things that, you know, may at the end of the day require some type of special disposal. You can't just dump, for instance, shingles in the middle of anywhere. You have to properly dispose of them. And so, anyways, right now at certain points now charging what I say is pretty high amounts, and we're starting to see more and more dumping, obviously in any type of roadside ditch, because people are trying to turn away from it. But not only that, when you go up there to actually pay, the only way you can pay, at least in the city, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way in the county, is by cash. So you're charging $90 plus a ton to dispose of something, and then you want them to pay in cash afterwards. You don't receive payment up front for anything. And then we have people that just, if they're not from here, just drive off. Or we have people from here that, like I said, in the beginning, we're trying to do all of their construction, their commercial construction under their personal residence, and try to say that, we don't have to pay for anything. So that's why they started charging everybody for any type of construction debris. It's ending up now, like I said, we're ending up with a bunch of stuff dumped in the sides of the roads. We're ending up with extremely high, essentially, we have accounts receivable that are significant that we write off because people come up here, they dump several tons, it's several $100s. Well, they don't have enough cash, and so I'll come back tomorrow and I'll bring cash, or I'll come back next week and you never see them again. And we have people down there that are collecting the information, they're writing the stuff down, they're getting their driver's license and doing all. We don't do anything to actually collect on it. We just write it off. I mean, that's costing us a tremendous amount of money. I mean, I'd be willing to bet that the amount of money we write off in a year would pay for the cost of us having a credit card processing machine. There's no reason in today's age that we can't have one. And if they come down and say, oh, well, it's a internet issue thing. Last time I checked, we can get internet fairly cheap. Starlink's not that expensive. And at the end of the day, it's costing us a significant amount of funds, and it costing people a lot of more time to keep up with cash, and once again coming back to pay people, or us just writing it off because they don't come back at all. And that's a major problem. I don't understand in today's society why we can't. We spend almost $1 million on a shredder, but we can't spend a couple grand on a credit card processing machine. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, am I crazy, or is
no,
that?
We're dealing with local politics. I mean, it's.
I mean, you see people that are selling stuff on Facebook and stuff like that now that have credit card processing machines, that are just running stuff out of their home. And here we are, multi-million-dollar, enterprise fund business essentially, and we don't have that.
Preach to the choir, bro.
I said, it blows my mind.
I get where you are. I really get where you are. I mean, it's there's so much that we don't do or don't take advantage of.
Right.
I got another comment here. It's from Alderman Donna Ross. I believe President Trump rolled back a lot of green energy tax incentives effective end of year.
They did.
Not sure, but I believe that to be true.
They did.
Is that going to be have an effect on the solar?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, I think, why he was having that time crunch. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there was something about, it was originally going to be 5 acres, and then it got cut down to 2.5. And so that was going to greatly reduce funding too, if I'm not mistaken, that he was going to receive.
Okay.
I say funded, some type of grant or tax write-off or something. I'm not 100% sure how all of it is going to lay out and fall.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Candy. Victims. This is in regards to the Family Justice Center. It advocates for victims of domestic violence. With the family is what they handle. Let me look into that. There, I might have somebody that can get us some better information and possibly come on the podcast. I'll do a little bit more research on that end to see what I can find out about that there. Getting back to it, I do want to touch up on the election somewhat. All right, we got Winnie Nichols Family Justice Center assists domestic violence victims with programs such as RAP. All right, thank you for clarification in there as well. The election coming up. We do know at this point we have Tracy Grisham, Larry Stegall,
Yeah, for sheriff.
and Richard King have all announced for sheriff. I was sent a screenshot today. Now I'm going to butcher this name because I don't know how to say it. So y'all bear with me here. I believe it's Gary Riffley. Is that how we pronounce it?
Riffle.
Riffle?
Yeah.
Okay. Please announce my candidacy for county mayor in the upcoming election. Your vote and support would be greatly appreciated. So this is the first one I've seen with as far as the county mayor is concerned. So, you know, to let you guys know, December 22nd is the first day that candidates can pick up their papers, which, you know, is, you know, they've got to qualify, they've got to get petitions signed and all that there.
Right. But then there's another step in this one versus the city election, which is the primaries.
Right. Because, and what you got to remember here, yeah, exactly, the city is a one-shot election. When you're dealing with the county, what will happen is May will be the primaries, and this is what they call the Republican primary.
Right.
So it's going to be all the Republican candidates that are going to run in May. Now, historically, what everybody has told me around here is whoever wins the primaries in May is who's going to transfer over in August. But you know, I hear a lot more talk about people that's geared more independent, right, and it's kind of pulling away from the Republican and the Democrat parties. Right. If that's the case, then, you know, remember this here. If I'll give you an example here, which this isn't going to happen, but if I ran for county mayor as a Republican and Blake decided to run as an independent, me and Blake's election, let's say I win the county mayor seat. I'm the only one that runs, and I get 2 votes. I get April to give me a vote. I might have to promise her some money or something. You know? So I win the Republican primary. And then once that happens, Blake would wait for me until August. And then in the...
assuming I run independent.
Right. So assuming he's running independent. So me and him would actually would go head-to-head in August. So that's how that works, so you have an understanding of that there.
But anybody that's registered as a Republican and that runs would have to run in the Republican primary. And if they are defeated, then, from my understanding anyways, the way it was explained to me, they're done. They can't run as an independent.
No. Whatever you declare for at the election time is where you got to ride that there. Yeah. So that's where that's at this point. I do expect at least one more in the sheriff's race. I expect a lot more in the county mayor seat. People are probably going to run for that seat. You know, and obviously we got a bunch of other seats going to be coming up. All 14 commissioners are up. So there'll be 2 commissioners per district. So there's 14 commissioners that's going to be up for election as well. You know, we haven't... I'm going by announcements. I'm not right now. I'm only talking about who is announced so far. Right. I have had conversations with quite a few people, and they told me that they're going to run. You know, that's once they make their announcement, they make their announcement. You know, then we'll bring that forward to you. But this is something I'm going to take in. We did this back during the city election, and we're going to do the same thing in the county election. And I think what I'm going to try to do is, as time allots, if you're available, I'd really like to have you sit in with me when we question these candidates.
Cool. Now try.
Just we're going to bring forth the citizen comments, questions, but you and I may have different questions or different sides. See things a little bit differently that may offer some additional questions too. We're going to ramp up a little bit more in the county than we did with the city as far as asking questions. We're gonna dig a little bit deeper on these questions and where to go with them. A lot of times you guys really put out some awesome questions in the city election, so I expect that to happen again this time. But what we are going to do is, normally I have a schedule of when I'm available. I can tell you right now, my availability is going to be my time is getting short before I relocate back to Virginia in the summer. And I've got a lot of stuff on my plate. In addition, and there's stuff I'm still working with, and I'm even behind on it right now with the Art for Animals. Last week we were able to work with a couple of citizens and create and work with the sheriff's department to create an organization to help with the dogs that we saw down there in Scotts Hill in front of the trailer with housing. And Pat, guys, kudos to you again. The donations. I mean,
it goes a long ways, and the time and commitment to go out there and do it and everything it takes.
Right. And I'm singing praises to the sheriff's deputy who has worked on this here. She's done a phenomenal job. The two ladies that are organizing this here, collecting the donations and making sure that what they're collecting, the dog houses, the bedding, the food, and everything is through the deputy is getting out to these dogs. So I mean, in a community effort for something to, I mean, this didn't take no more than 2 or 3 days to organize this whole thing and to bring relief to animals that was just in a very, very bad situation. So, this is the things about community. Sometimes we deal with hard issues, and I know everybody wants things to be, hunky dory and all roses, but that's just not the reality we live in. And if we just only look for that there, then we're going to sorely miss all the issues that we have to face and address, because there's a lot of people and there's animals out there right now that are suffering, and they need attention as well. It can't just all be positive. And I know I'm gonna probably upset people by saying that, but I'm all for positive, but I'm also a realist that we have people in need. And that's one of the things that we try to focus on, is helping those who have that need. But anyway, with the election coming up, if you are a candidate, or if you're considering running before December 22nd, I'm probably going to wait till after Christmas. Now, I will say here, the very first of the year, my wife's having surgery on the 29th to have her thyroid removed. So my family comes first and foremost. And, well, rephrase that there. My family is number 2 in my life. My Lord and Savior is number 1. My family's I've got to take care of my family and myself before I focus on anything else. And that's one of the things that I will do. And then our son, fortunately, we got to spend time with him during, over Thanksgiving. He came home, and shout out to Braden. We love you, son. He's in the Navy. He's been in San Diego for, about 3 years. Out of that 3 years, he was pretty much underway 2.5 years of it.
Wow.
So, this is, and he's going to be transferring back to Charleston, but he's coming back home on the 30th. And we'll have him for about another week before he has to leave back out again. So, that's going to take up my time, first and foremost. But we'll work on this here. So it may be into the second week before we start launching these podcasts. Unless somebody, wants to come on, if somebody calls me, well, tomorrow night, it's a date night, so that ain't happening. But if somebody wants to come on one day next week, I can make time. It's not going to be, I don't know the rules and regulations, if you can make a campaign pitch before you pick up papers or not. I mean, hell, an announcement to me is a campaign pitch.
I was going to say, I don't know where the line's drawn, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to until you pick up papers. But I really don't know what the demarcation line is, or like I said, if it's a big gray area that.
Well,
who's going to enforce it anyways?
Right. If you're making an announcement and you're putting your resume on the announcement, that's a campaign pitch.
Yeah.
You can't put it any other way. So, that's, we'll have to see what happens there with that there. But if anybody, if anybody wants to take and, jump in and get on and have a conversation, even if you just want to say, look, I'm considering it. I ain't sure I'm going to do it, but I'm considering it. I can probably make some time next week. It's
Come on, Tim.
yeah. So yeah, if you're actually considering making a run here at anything, or you are for sure you're going to make a run, and after you pick up the papers, you want to get up here and get on the podcast, the door is open. This is a lot different in the city. We had people back, multiple times with the city election. Depending on how many people want to take and come on the podcast, we may not have that luxury this time with the county.
Right.
Upside is we do have a longer campaign period.
I say there's a longer campaign period, but there's also 17 or 18 positions that'll be open. Getting county road supervisor on this one.
No, that was on. I believe that was on the last one, wasn't it? I think he's on the independent side. Sheriff's going to be up. The clerk of court.
Yeah.
Not the clerk. Tasha is going to be up. Cavaness in the trustee's office is up. I think
Doug's, is he up on the?
Yeah, I seen the property assessor.
Yeah,
was up.
property assessors is up. The constables in all 7 districts will be up.
Yeah, forget about that.
So yeah, we're talking. I mean, we're talking probably 25.
30 positions.
Yeah,
almost.
25 to 30 positions that will be up on this election. So, you know, it's you know, it is what it is. Yeah, a lot. Pam, why can't he run against a Democrat? Oh, yeah. Anybody, an independent and a Democrat will not be in the Republican primary.
Yeah, there'll be a Republican and Democratic primary, and then the independent wouldn't have either one of those.
Right.
They wouldn't, and so they'll end up on the ballot. But only the one that wins the primary for the Republican Democrat will end up on the ballot for them.
Right. Now there is not a Democrat primary here.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's not a Democrat primary in Henderson County that I'm aware of.
Oh,
And it wasn't one in the last election, to my knowledge. So what will happen there is that Democrat will run at the same time in the August 5th general election.
yeah, general.
And they'll go against the Republican. So that's how it would be. Is the Republican primary is the only primary that I know of we have in Henderson County, unless something's happened that I'm not aware of. So it's whoever the Republican sends up will go against.
However many Democrats.
Yeah, however many Democrats, however many independents run in the August general election. So yeah, that can happen. Pam, it's just a matter of you know, how people decide to run. You know which party they're going to run under. Now I will say this here, and this has always been told to me, and like I said, Republican county and whoever wins the Republican primary is generally who's going to transfer into the seat. And I know that the only one I think last year was challenged was, and I mean in the last county election 4 years ago was, or 3 years ago was District 7 commissioner. It was Joe Ross and Celia Barrow were the incumbents, and Celia ran as an independent in the August primaries. And in the Republican primary, Joe won the seat because he ran, and Nick Peterson won. And they transferred to the general election, and they had to go against Celia. And both Joe and Nick won. So the Republican, whoever came out of that primary, won on to win the, whatchamacallit. Woohoo, Paul. That's right. Go Navy, baby. I definitely will thank him for that there. I appreciate that, brother. So, yeah, it's, you know, we're coming into this season, and it's going to be time where people are going to take and step up and want to start making announcements. So we'll get them on board here. What I'm going to say is start thinking of the questions that you would like to ask. We'll eventually get a post for each position that's going to be available. I'm going to say something too that I might upset some people. I'm just going to say it. I don't know why we did away with the Election Commission's website in the county. I have no clue. The website's no longer there.
Oh.
Now, when you go on to it, the Election Commission is under the Henderson County government website. And when you click on anything like, you know, I can't go back in and find last 3 years ago, I can't find the results from it. Because everything now brings you to the Secretary of State's website. Well, when I go on the Secretary of State's website and started looking up under, all they're showing is county. If you look under county results, it's only showing you the counties voting for a state or federal position only. It's not showing you the local results.
Wow.
I've tried to search it numerous times, different ways, and I came same thing. I couldn't get it. So I'm not sure why that is. I was, you know, I can pull back up on the taxpayers page. It just takes me a while to go back and dig.
Right.
But we've got the election results, so you know, we'll take a look. I can look at that there to see which positions, because at this point, without that information, I mean, we're going to have to go back through the archives to see what positions are going to be running.
Yeah, or reach out to them directly.
Yeah.
And see. I'm not sure if that's just maybe like a lag in them uploading data to the new website, or like I said, what?
Well, it's the Secretary of State's website, so that it might be on their end, just slow moving.
Well, I'm saying that they swapped over to the county main webpage versus, because they used to have their own.
Right.
That they were maintaining.
But if you go there
yeah,
now,
it's no longer there.
Yeah, 404 file not found.
Wow.
Yeah, so the website's gone. So they've abolished it. You know,
Right.
it's not even down for maintenance or anything. It's just gone.
Wow.
So I don't know the reason behind that there, but you know,
It is what it is. But anyway, wow, we kept this thing here right at an hour. That's
Oh my gosh, I'm impressed.
yeah, I am too. And we're going to get off because we get long winded on these things here talking. And we, you know, do I apologize for that? Yeah, I do. I know we run our mouths quite a bit, but you know, all we're doing is we want you guys to be aware of really what's going on.
Right.
Because there's conversations outside of what happens in a meeting, and insight really plays a part on these things here. There's stuff that you just can't take from a meeting and understand how things work. So that's one of the things that we try to interject.
Right. Well, that in building all the stuff together, like I said, putting all the information
Right.
together from
Yeah, like
past
the puzzle.
meetings. Yeah, and like I said, trying to lay it out where it makes sense to maybe understand where they're going or why they did something. Or I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of times you kind of have to almost read between the lines some. But
Yeah, and and that's one thing I've found is fortunately by attending all these meetings for so long, so much information that I've learned from back then and how it applies now.
Right.
It makes a difference. Which, like I said, when we're up here running our mouths, I'm, Blake's up here, I'm way down here. He's smart.
I don't know about that. You have a lot more information than I do about what's going on, though.
I happened to stay at the Holiday Inn Express last night. That was it. No, I'll tell you what. It's just it's a matter of doing it for so long. Plays a part in the knowledge I have, and I'm going to say something else too, boy. People probably wouldn't be happy about this here, but I get a lot of information from the inside.
Right.
When I say that we need to praise some of our employees that we've got working for us in the government, we really do. We've got some phenomenal people working for us.
Yeah.
And then we got some dead weight. The truth, and the good ones, they're reaching out, they're understanding.
Right.
They want to be part of change, and changes happen. You guys have made change happen.
That's right.
Especially in the city. I mean, that's it's definitely played a part. Anyway, we're going to end this for the night. I'm going to make sure that I got no more comments up here. I don't see no more. My phone is. Yep, that should be it. Paul's the last one. All right.
I'll take care.
Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us. We might have to rename this from the Hidden Agenda to the Blake and James Show. But yeah, y'all guys have a great evening. And like I said, we'll see you before Christmas, so we can get to the holiday part later on.
Right.
Stay safe out there. I know Sunday we got some cold weather coming.
Yeah. Brutally cold.
Yeah. Upside is the gas sales should go up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time on the